Hello, good afternoon, maybe even good evening from Normal, Illinois. Yes, that means one thing, Rivian time. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at our new out of spec reviews video that just went up, we just took delivery of this brand new 2026 Rivian R1S. This is actually the standard LFP battery, which means it has the least amount of range of any Rivian you can buy. And I've been saying for a long time, I don't think you need to spend a ton of money on the NACS packs, on the tri-motor, the quad motor. Certainly for some people, maybe me included, it would be so fun to have 1,000 horsepower and, you know, bigger range and all that stuff. It's just the numbers get so big. So I actually had a few referral points that I could burn and put towards this vehicle, and I thought before they do anything crazy with the program, let me get in on the action, turn those referral points mostly into a new Rivian R1S, and I got a standard LFP option. And now we get to go on our first ever road trip to see a couple things. Is the standard LFP actually good or bad? Because I think a lot of people get the max pack because they're like, I go on 2 road trips a year, I need the range. Well, let's see how the standard one is. And the second thing is, this vehicle has native NACS. It has a J3400 charging port. So I'm gonna show you that. I don't even know what chargers we can use. Should be a ton of fun. Let's go on a road trip in our brand new Rivian R1S. And here it is. This is the new out of spec R1S. It wasn't long ago when Scott and I were here and we picked up Andreas on the way home, where we picked up her 2025 R1S. Now, Scott's Rivian was a lease. We ended up leasing her a dual motor max pack performance, essentially as expensive as you could get a dual motor Rivian. And here we have the exact opposite end of the spectrum. This is a literally zero option Rivian R1S, as cheap as you can get it. This particular one was $76,990. Now, if we had gone for an R1T, which is kind of what I wanted to do actually, it would have been $5,000 cheaper than this one. But I asked you guys on X, on other social media, oh look, the Rivian RCV van. Whoa, couldn't get it to zoom in, but a little Rivian van went by. I asked you guys on social media, R1T or R1S, with no further context, and so many of you guys said R1S. And of course, I want to make content that's relevant to you guys, and there's a lot more, understandably, interest in the SUV than the truck. Now, my personal daily driver is an R1T, a Generation 1 R1T Launch Edition, that I picked up right here and brought to this very Starbucks, same I did with Scott's Rivians, kind of tradition. And I paid $75,000, $77,000 for my Rivian R1T. This is the same money, but comes with, honestly, so much less. Rivians have gotten more expensive into the Generation 2, and people are spending upwards of $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 on their Rivians, even some going up to $130,000 for a fully spec'd quad motor. It just seems that I think people get a little bit carried away with the options when they may not necessarily need to. Now, certainly, look, spec it up if you can go for it, but I think a lot of people overlook this option. So let's talk about the road trip. We're gonna be going, I don't even know how many miles, 800 miles in this road trip to Raleigh, North Carolina, the new home. And so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that goes. And we've got a couple things going here. We have a roughly 100 kilowatt hour, I wanna say 99 kilowatt hour usable lithium iron phosphate battery pack. The LFP battery pack is really interesting because not many people talk about it. Not much is known about it. My impression is it's going to be pretty thermally stable. It's going to charge pretty well, should do around 200 kilowatt charging and hold it for quite a while. Should be actually a good road tripper. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that LFP battery does on this trip. We also have these, which are the stock wheels and tires, which to me is crazy. These are chunky all-terrains, looking at least. They're technically all season, but it's a 34-inch all-terrain tire. It's a Goodyear Wrangler Territory AT all-terrain. And it's not the big boy off-road tire that Rivian options, but honestly, it's not too far off. That is an aggressive standard tire on this thing, and I think it looks awesome, and I can't wait to do some off-roading with this because, hey, it's got not maybe all the settings and options. The base one actually is software kind of choked or nerfed from a setting standpoint, but it still has an all-terrain mode that we'll try out. check this out. We also have native NACS on this truck. This is the first non-Tesla vehicle that I've owned with a native NACS port in it, and I really am excited to see how that interfaces, how the thermals are, what the charging performance is like compared to using the adapter, because Tesla superchargers have become almost unusable, well, at least to get high charging performance with when it suspects that you're using the adapter. It really limits the temperature that the cable can get at, and then derates your charging performance to around 350 amps or 150 kilowatts. And so you really get very slow charging, especially in the summertime with Rivians. I wonder if they'll know this is a native NACS vehicle and hold high power deeper and longer. My guess is no, but we're going to find out on this trip, because I don't have a CCS to NACS adapter, which means we are pretty much locked to the Tesla supercharger network and the Iona charging network for this road trip. Now, I don't know if we're going to go buy any Iona stations. I certainly would like to. They've been a longtime supporter of Out of Spec. I love their charging stations. They're incredibly high quality and fast and wonderful. But of course, I also love the Tesla supercharger network. Almost no one does it better than Tesla in terms of operating a massive network. So I can't wait to experience with the native NACS connection. Just showing you around our R1S here. Again, this is standard, no option. Go ahead and watch our delivery video. Still has a glass roof, still has a somewhat reasonable sound system on first glance. I'll be playing around with that and trying it on this trip throughout everything. And overall, like, seems nice. Like, Scott's Rivian is $30,000 more than this, sticker for sticker. Let's take a look at the trip. And first, I already did a little bit of route planning, but let me just have it go through again so you can see how the route planning works for the 2026 NACS vehicles. This already knows in software that it has the NACS port in there. And so it's going to prioritize stations that have J3400, for example, superchargers that are open. Our first stop seems perfectly planned, 7% arrival. It's 170 miles away. And you can see we're basically going to be going through, what is this city here? Indianapolis. We're then going to go north of Cincinnati. We're going to go through West Virginia. Oh, that'll be interesting. West Virginia, and then dip into North Carolina, and boom, we'll be home. So that'll be a beautiful drive. I'm really looking forward to this drive. Should be absolutely awesome. We'll probably stay somewhere on the other side of Indianapolis tonight, maybe somewhere in this area, Richmond-ish, because I do have to get a little bit of work done, so I don't want to go super late, and then we'll finish the drive off tomorrow. Is there a way for us to see total trip stats so we can see how far away we're going? Let's take a look. To Raleigh, it says we'd get there at 9 a.m., so it's like 15 hours or so. It doesn't exactly say how many miles the whole trip is, though, does it? I want to say it's around 800 plus or minus, something like that. It's a pretty sizable road trip from, you know, the Chicago area, Normal to Raleigh. Not the end of the world. Much closer than if we were going Chicago to Fort Collins, which we did for the last couple times I've got a Rivian. So a much quicker delivery experience in terms of driving home. Have to really say a big thank you to Rivian for providing a great delivery experience, as they always do. They just nail it. They knock it out of the park every time. They're the best. So a big thank you to them for hooking us up with this truck, and the process was wonderful. 7% arrival. We've got a native NACS port. I don't even know if this thing's hooked up to do plug and charge on supercharging. I haven't looked. Let's just go and see what happens. We've got some distance to cover. In terms of drive modes, like I mentioned, some of it is nerfed. We have no conserve mode like the tri and quad motors have, and maybe it will come through a software update. All purpose does the clutch disconnect and reconnect, so we're going to be running primarily front wheel drive, which I think is okay for a road trip. Although my plan is to drive this most of the time in snow mode, which is where it will keep all wheel drive all the time. It just means you don't get the big clunk when the rear motor comes in, and it also means that you actually will save a little bit of front tire wear, so it's not pulling you along in front wheel drive. Very interestingly, the only difference that I can see other than the lack of some drive modes in this is regen being just standard and low. I see no high regen, and that's something that might be unique to the LFP. It might be a bug, but this vehicle does not have high regen in it, and standard felt still pretty strong, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. With all that said, I'm going to put the suspension in auto height so it drops on the highway. We'll be logging our efficiency with trip A here. So let's see, I got 1.65 miles per kilowatt hour leaving the factory. I was ripping it, and of course I left climate control on for a while. So we'll reset trip A. We've got some distance to do, 170 miles. Should be totally doable at 93%. I think this is going to be about a 200-mile vehicle on the highway all day long at 80, 85 miles an hour. I bet at 70, this is going to do like 230, somewhere in that region on these all-terrain wheels and tires. That would be my guess. Honestly, not the longest range thing, no, but it really shouldn't be that bad. And what really matters is the charging performance for me when we get to the charging station, to see how this LFP onboards energy. Because if it charges slow, that's really going to suck. If it charges fast, that's going to be awesome. So let's go see how it goes. It is time to hit the road. So I'm going to pull up the efficiency screen. You'll notice I still have these plastic covers on the screens. That is because I think Alyssa will want to pull those off. So we've got our efficiency graph here, which I'm curious to see. These are like not very efficient wheels and tires. We can always put aero wheels and tires on this if we wanted to, but I think it looks great on these. We're going to run everything in auto. Everything's good. Reset trip A. Boom. Into drive. I've already got this thing hooked up to Rivian Roamer, so it's logging all of our data as well. Highly recommend anyone with a Rivian to use Rivian Roamer to log, driving statistics, charging curves, charging logs, everything like that. It's an awesome service. So head to rivianroamers.com. Not sponsored, but just a great service and community run. My buddy Chad runs it. He's awesome. So highly recommend checking it out. With all that said, I don't have any fancy GoPros this trip for beautiful driving clips. It's just going to be kind of a join me for the stops along the way. Maybe a couple clips in between if something fun or interesting happens. For the time being, I've got to be on phone calls for the next couple hours. So I'm going to settle in, lock in, use the enhanced highway assist, which we've shown you so many times in Rivian videos. Good thing we didn't get into an accident with that guy. All is good. And lock in on the driver assistance and just get some work done. So see you in about 2.5 hours when we get to the next station. We are going to be merging onto the highway for the first time, and this is where we're going to be able to see if this thing is in alignment or out of alignment. Some of you may remember Scott's Rivian came with a few issues on delivery, and with this one, the only issue that I can see so far is just a slight little rattle from the door here, but very, very minor, and I would say feels much better put together than our other Rivians that we've taken delivery of. So it's possible that for model year 26, at least in our impression, they may have dialed some things in. It's also possible I'm speaking too soon. So let's get up to speed. The sun is right in our eyes, and let's see if the wheel looks straight or if it does not. But so far it actually looks pretty damn straight. Let's see, we'll get the thing locked in line here. And if anything, it might just be slightly off to the right. Maybe slightly off to the right, but no, I'd say it's acceptable. That seems okay for now. I'll see if it wears on me or annoys me, but right now I would say that feels okay. And if anything, I would just like 1 degree to the left it, but hey, that's all right. Let's go. We've got a couple hours of cruising, jump on some calls and hit the road. This is the fastest I've been in this thing, 70 miles an hour so far. Honestly, feels great. It's quiet, comfortable, great suspension. It's going to drop to low suspension automatically the way I have it set right now for highway cruising. And yes, I do think it's also got a little bit of road crown going on here. Maybe not perfect alignment. Let's put on highway assist. Boom, there we go. We can also enable enhanced highway assist like this, so it's hands-free. So what it's doing right now is all just, hands-free driver assistance. It's doing its lane center. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and it has the capability to get much better over time, similar to Tesla systems. Its capabilities are extremely limited compared to Tesla systems right now. It should do automatic lane changes. There we go. Very nice. But it has the ability to be updated like other systems out there, which is great. So I'm going to use this system for most of the trek or most of the drive out to wherever the heck we're going, some Tesla charger. I love that it shows state of charge on arrival now. Thank you so much, Rivian and Wasim, for adding that. That is such a huge benefit other than just looking at the miles on arrival, having state of charge. We've got distance to cover. See you in a bit. Cruising along nicely. This dude is hauling ass in this truck. It's awesome. He came by and I gave him a big thumbs up because it was a pretty sick truck, old Peterbilt. Hit me with a good old Jake brake show. He was like ripping, then Jake brake, ripping, Jake brake, thumbs up both ways. It was awesome to see. Thing sounded awesome. Dude's really cool. And Yep, sun is just setting in the distance behind us. The efficiency of this drive has been pretty on par, about 2 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, we've been moving along pretty good because this guy's been hauling ass, and that's been great to follow him. We don't seem to have that much range though, so we're down to 15% state of charge, showing a 5% arrival. This has jumped everywhere from 2% to like 12%, and so I don't know if it's just the LFP that needs to get calibrated or it's getting weird signals, but typically in Rivians in the past it's right bang on par, and in this one it definitely this number is jumping around quite a bit on arrival. So maybe it just needs to get calibrated and dialed in, which is very possible thing to happen with the LFP packs. We'll definitely keep an eye on it, but for now it's looking like we'll get there in the single-digit % state of charge range, so I'm very much looking forward to it. And oh yeah, here's our dude. He slowed down, I guess, to let us go by, and he's ripping. Awesome. Yeah, there we go. Thumbs up. Love to see it. And this dude is so cool. Little hazards this way just to say hey. Love it. Love finding cool people out on the roads. That's half the fun of road tripping. And sounds like that guy's a Rivian fan. Love to see it. Anyway, we'll see you in about 20 minutes when we get to the charging station. We are rolling up to our first ever charging stop in our new Rivian. There's a Tesla pulling out of what I assume to be the supercharger. Again, because we have a native NACS port and no adapter, we are locked to supercharging stations. So let's see, we've got a NACS port in a weird spot on this, a non-native location. So let's see, I'll pull up here and we'll have to block 2 stalls, unfortunately. What we're going to do first is see if we've got plug and charge. By the way, sound system in this, it's a little mushy, okay? You definitely get your money's worth when you pay for the premium sound system, but the subwoofer's awesome. Like the bass in this rocks. Because it's an LFP car, it recommends charging to 100% state of charge for battery health. You can see it's probably not totally calibrated because it was predicting 259 miles at 100%. Now it's showing 260 at 100%. Either way, to get a nice little baseline on charging, I'm going to climb it off. There we go. Let's get it plugged in. The first thing I want to try to see if this thing has plug and charge working. I think you don't get a way to integrate Tesla's membership pricing with plug and charge on any automaker, which is a real shame. It's a Tesla problem. They're not doing it. No flap to pull down. This is crazy. And yeah, so I'll pay the higher rate, but I'm just curious to see if plug and charge works, because that's the nice Tesla experience. My first time plugging in the new 2026 R1 with the NACS port. Let's do it. Oh, nice action. Instant communication. You can see it's communicating, blinking in and out. Very good. Let's see what the car says, because we have no screen on the charger. It says starting. Cool. Let's see what we got here. We'll have to change some of the screens around. Holy smokes. Come on, babe. We're charging. And you can see this is where it wants to charge to make it to the next charging station. That's weird route planning, but it might actually just be the spacing of the stations. Not every supercharger is open to non-Tesla, keep in mind. So in order to see our actual charging speed, I don't know what miles per hour is in this car, because again, that's based off vehicle efficiency. We've got to go to charging, then we've got to go to graph, and then we've got to hit this. 190 kilowatts, 203, 206. Damn. Right up to full power. That's freaking sick. Well, so far, no fans. It still doesn't show battery temperature while charging. So let me actually pull up service mode. Let's see what we got here. We'll go here. Settings, service, service mode, tap top bar 5 times, swipe up from the bottom, hit ride, tap again. No. I've shown this too many times. 33748. You're in. High voltage. There we go. We're doing 500 amps. 480 is going into the battery. Battery pack's very high voltage. Holy smokes. 433 volts at 9% charging. So this is a really high voltage car for 400 volt system architecture. Higher voltage for sure in the LFP is down low, at least, than the high nickel chemistry Rivians. The thing is, especially the large pack, someone's got to figure out, I'm sure they have, but I don't know what it is. I'd love to figure out what the large pack Rivian is, because it's a max pack with modules removed. So it must be like 330 volts. I would guess somewhere around there. Anyway, we're doing 210 kilowatts. Love to see it. I'm going to run in, pee, get a snack or something, start figuring out where we're going to be for the rest of the night. But so far, we haven't derated off full power. Charger still says 500 amps is available. It's not that hot out right now, and the solar loading has gone away because it's dark out. So that's good. And we should be able to hold, pretty good power for, I hope, a long time. But how about that? That's the Tesla experience. Roll up, plug in, leave. I don't like that the port's in the non-native location. I wish they put it there. Would have been better. But in all honesty, with the version 4 posts that are going into the future, this is going to become less of a problem. Still, roll up, plug in, charge, rip, done. And we're getting full power. Love to see it. Oh, no, we're not. It's already starting to derate. Only about 4 minutes into the charging session, maybe even less. So that is interesting. The thing is, we're not losing power. So we're still doing 210 kilowatts, but you can see the supercharger is limiting us here. 478 amps, 476 going into the battery, and now we're losing power. And it's not due to the Rivian, it's due to the charger limitation of cable temperature. But still, with this being pretty high pack voltage, it actually seems to affect it less than the big battery packs do. Wow, so much to explore with this LFP battery, but initial impression of this charging experience is good. This is just typical Tesla thermal management on their version 3 superchargers. Not good. Maybe we'll hit a version 4 on the way. That would be great. A version 4 dispenser. That'd be awesome. Just ran in to get some waters and little snack and stuff. And you can see here, charging speed reduced due to charging station. I would agree. We're down to 380 amps on the supercharger. Man, it's a real problem. It's not even hot outside, 80 degrees. No sun, and these things cannot output the amps. Tesla is so conservative with cable temperatures, maybe for good reason, maybe for safety, but it's still, so many Rivian owners rely on the supercharger network, especially now with native NACS cars. And the fact that the charging equipment just can't give the trucks what they want is a real problem. Even some Teslas struggle with it. My Cybertruck would smoke these cables, and it's actually a real problem. So I think Tesla needs to upfit to version 4 dispensers across the country as quickly as possible. Those have much better thermal management than these V3 posts. So I'm starting to feel like that highway range definitely isn't incredible. We used 77.3 kilowatt hours to go 168 miles. This is probably a 190 to 200 mile range car, the way we were driving it, which is, about 80 miles an hour average, I would say, something like that. So yeah, that's the small battery life, but the charging performance at least seems good on initial glance. I actually think like on a race to Vegas, this would do really well after that initial charged leg. Like in the 10% challenge, this should do really well. I think we've actually run an early software version of one of these in the 10% challenge. Jordan did, and it's still the fastest one of the Rivians we've tested. They're all pretty much the same though. Still, man, this is like 200 miles, 100 to 0. That could be a little bit rough if you're boogieing. So that's where, okay, maybe large and max pack. I would kind of skip large. I think you just go max pack. I think max pack starts to make sense if you're doing a long one-way distance often. Yep, I guess just feels a little weak sauce on the range. And it could also, a big factor here is we have these all-terrain ish wheels and tires here. Let me show you really quick. If I go here to service, I should be able to show you them right there. These 20-inch all seasons. That is not helping on range. If we swap Scott's what the heck does she have? She has the 22-inch Aero wheels on here. If we swap those on, it would make a big difference and really help. With all that said, the car wants to go. It's ready. I'm kind of thinking I'd like to find a place to stop overnight somewhere in this stretch of road. And so, it's 9:30 p.m. Maybe stop around 10. I can edit for a couple hours and then asleep by midnight. That would be perfect. So it definitely wants to stop at this charger, which we can easily make it to. And then it's quite a stretch from there to there, I guess. So let me see what I can find hotel-wise on the east side of Indy. I definitely want to get to the other side of Indianapolis. Maybe there's Greenfield, Knightstown, something in this stretch. See if I can find a hotel with a level 2 charging station. That'd be awesome. Need to find, well, I've got NACS and a J1772 adapter, so we're good there. And let's see what we can find, and then we will hit the road. We are charged up just over 50% state of charge. Cooling fans just kicked on. We will get to our hotel in 40 minutes in Greenfield. Fairfield Inn & Suites. They have 2 Tesla wall connectors and a J1772. It's a Thursday evening, so I'm hoping the level 2 stations will be available. I'm also curious about going there and level 2 charging because I want to full charge this. Yes, we picked it up full at the factory, but now that it's kind of cycled, I want to full charge it at 100%, get it calibrated, and then hit the road tomorrow and see if that kind of fixes our state of charge on arrival calculation, because that was really all over the place on the first leg here. And that's just something I haven't seen in other Rivians before. Normally they're pretty solid. As a backup for charging, let's see, if we can't charge there, yes, we can still easily make it to our supercharger stop that we've had planned originally, which is over here. So we're good on charging. As a backup, if we can't charge at the hotel, which is always a possibility, let's unplug, hit the road. Well, driving an electric car gets you to see places you haven't seen before, and I've not seen this side of Indianapolis before. We're going right through the center, so that'll be kind of cool. We've got about a 35-minute drive over to the hotel, 29 miles, nice and easy. Definitely charged way too long at that supercharger, and of course at the higher rates rather than using the app to pre-authorize with my member pricing, which I'll do for the rest of the trip. It is nice though if someone just borrows this Rivian, I can say, look, just go to any of the superchargers it shows on the map, plug in the cable, and it charges. And if it costs me an extra $5 for me not have to call them and pre-activate the station or whatever, it's nice. When I'm doing a road trip, I can use my member account. And so I like the flexibility. I just wish Tesla would allow other automakers to pair their subscription pricing with plug-in charge. I think that would really be a game changer and something to further the electric adoption. That was the whole point of Tesla opening up the network, and I really think they got to do it. In fact, it's probably worth making a whole video on that topic. The clutch connect and disconnect is driving me insane already. Now that we have enough range to make it, I'm going to drive this thing in snow mode so it stays all-wheel drive all the time. You can see as I roll into it, we got all the motors, and that will really help with the clunking going on the rear axle. It drives me crazy in Scott's Rivian. Same thing here, just unacceptable experience, I think, for a car of any price. It's just not well tuned, and there will be a fix for it, I'm told, very soon from Rivian, so I'm looking forward to that. We have made it to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's go do some hot laps. Damn, that would be awesome. So cool to be over here. What a cool town. Never, I have been to this speedway before years and years ago, but I've never driven it. I would love to. I think that'd be so fun. And it's really close to downtown. Somehow, I guess I didn't realize that. We are like in the main bubble of Indianapolis, and that's the speedway right there. What an awesome facility. Grandstands all around. Dang, wish there was an event happening. I would definitely stop and go check it out. Sick. We have arrived to our hotel a little bit down the road. Fairfield Inn & Suites, so pretty nice. Wall connectors, Gen 2 wall connectors, so probably not the payment one. It's the Gen 3s that are the ones that were or can support payment situations. Ooh, nice F450. We'll just plug her in, see how that works from an AC side. That was pretty easy. What does the Rivian say? It says starting. Snow mode is definitely the move to drive this thing in. Maybe a little bit longer accelerator pedal, but still just full power rips. Still communicating. Come on, baby. Maybe it does require payment. Huh. Normally that would just be instant. So I'll play around with it. These should just charge straight away. No? Anyway, let me get checked in. All the stalls are open, so worst case, I'm sure we'll get one to work. I don't know what's going on here. So I think this wall connector is just broken because that one is working just fine. So what I'm going to do is actually not move the Rivian because there's only actually 2 spaces for charging with 3 chargers. There's this one, which can be used by the handicap stall. And then this also leaves the J plug open if someone needs to charge here. So nice long cables. Love that. I'm just going to leave the Rivian there juicing up. And yeah, that worked great. So I guess this wall connector is just kind of a bum wall connector. Let's take a look here. Yep, 9.5 kilowatts. Be done at 4 in the morning. Oh, the cooling just kicked on, so it's going a little bit slower. Whoa, and my camera work is getting worse. Probably shouldn't have charged that supercharger so long, but that's all good. We'll let it full charge, be calibrated, and we'll leave it 100% in the morning, which will be sick. Good morning. Man, this thing is looking nice. Really looks like a dialed in R1S. Very pleased. Another Tesla came over here and plugged into this wall connector. Interestingly, they didn't use the J1772 port because I don't think this wall connector is working. At least it's not blinking. Anyway, we are charged up to 100% before I unplug. Let me show you. Oh my goodness. That steering wheel. Dude, time for a new wheel. 259 miles at 100%. So Rivian actually rates the LFP R1S at 270 miles, but that's if you get the aero wheels and tires. Here we've gone for the standard, I think better looking all-terrains. And again, it was a no cost option. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. What I'm going to do is coil up this cable a little bit. And then I've got a podcast to do all morning. I don't even know where our first stop is going to be, but I'm just going to start heading east, put in Raleigh, and let's see where we're going to stop, get on the podcast, and then just cruise. Should be easy. Let's figure out where our first stop is going to be now that we're up to a full 100%. In terms of drive modes with the dual motor vehicles, they do reset every drive cycle, I believe. Except no, it stayed in snow mode. How about that? I thought they would reset after 4 or 6 hours to do the clutch disconnect. Anyway, that's good. Let's see where it wants us to stop. 11% arrival, 173 miles. Yeah, this is like a 200-mile car on the highway, which is fine. But yeah, definitely like the standard range version. It actually feels like a bit less range than I was expecting, to be honest. Not that it's a bad thing for me. I'm cool with it, but I see now why more people go for the big batteries. So my theory of the LFP is the one to have. I still think it is, but for these long trips, man, it would be nice to start with a bit more capacity than 100 kilowatt hours in there. With that said, looks like we have some really quick charging stops, 18 minutes, 25 minutes, 22 minutes. This looks way better than the big boy battery Rivian, so perhaps the overall trip time will still be less than this if the charging performance is good. The thing is, we overheat handles pretty quickly. Now, if we had continued straight out here to Springfield, there's some cool charging stations I wanted to look at. There's Iona, there's a BP Pulse station. That's probably this one right here. Yep, the BP Pulse station. Iona's not in Rivian yet, but it's coming soon. I would have loved to stop at both of those. However, it's not on the way. So I do think we need to we could go to Columbus and down. It's probably not worth it for this trip. We're just kind of blasting home, but I definitely want to hit some more charging infrastructure in the East Coast now that we're living over here. So with all that said, we've got almost 3 hours until our first charging stop. So let's head there. It's an open V3 supercharger. We've got some distance to cover. I've got a podcast to jump on. I'll keep it in snow mode since we're not worried about range. We'll keep the tire wear even and the clutch disconnect from clunking all over the place. And let's rock and roll to our first charging stop in the R1S. Should be fun. Beautiful morning for a drive. We have a bit of a headwind, which has shot our efficiency down to well under 2 miles per kilowatt hour, but things are going well. We've got the auto lane change from Highway Assist working wonderfully, and we should be arriving at 9%. I've just gone through podcasting, some calls, everything's good. And yeah, this is for sure, I would say, keep funneling in. I'm guessing in the range test around 200 miles. Maybe 220 miles at 70 miles an hour. That's what I would guess. But keep in mind, you can full charge this thing every day. At least they claim you can. Car is nice. No rattles, really, other than this one little door, but that's very minor. It just feels great. I love that we got the base Rivian. I just feel so good about this decision. The wheel is definitely off a little bit, though. I don't know if you can tell. It's just a little angled to the right. So we've got to maybe fix that, maybe just deal with it. But, yep, that's really the only major problem. Major problem I can find at delivery. Other than that, I think we got a solid one, folks. We have exited for a supercharger. We've arrived at 9%. It thinks we'll get there at 8% at 0.7 miles. This always makes me think it's 22 miles away. We'll get there at 8%. I think maybe this should actually be reversed, where it goes 8% first, 22 miles remaining, or I don't know. This is the way it should be done. I like this, but this is the actual distance, and that's the range the car will have when we get there. Anyway, driving in snow mode, kept it in all-wheel drive the whole time. Probably gave up a little bit of efficiency doing it that way, but saved front tire wear from running front-wheel drive the whole way, and the NVH and clunk when the rear motor connects. I'll throw it in all-purpose when we need the range, but for now, I'm liking keeping all motors on. That's my preference, and also when like towing and doing some other things, it stays in all-wheel drive all the time, of course. So we are pretty close to the Tesla supercharger. It's a little bit off the highway through some traffic lights, so we'll make our way through this mess and then get this thing plugged in. It's toasty out, 90 degrees and sunny, so I'm guessing we're going to have pretty poor charging performance due to version 3 supercharger cables, but only time will tell. We are arriving to the Tesla supercharging station now, so let's find a good place to plug in where we won't block everyone. And it's going to be a little difficult, but I think I'll just nose it in right here on the end stall, and that way we don't block anyone. So that's the way to do it. So we'll do this full turn, nice black Cybertruck. We'll take this one here on the end, which is not actually a charging parking space, but it's one over. And this way, we don't block any extra stalls. Great. I'm also going to pre-authorize this station with my app, so we get a little cheaper rate. So I have pre-authorized 2C right here, and we will just plug in the nice NACS connection. Love to see it. I've left the door cracked to keep climate running. And I'm actually going to try to keep climate running for this whole charging session. Now we have an Arby's here. We have a Tumbleweed. We've got, don't know what a Tumbleweed is actually, a bridal place. Oh my goodness. Gabe's. Goodwill, Joanne. I've never heard of any of these. Joanne or Gabe's. I think I'm just might be going to get some Taco Bell, which is right over there too. Hey, nothing beats taco. Now it wants us to charge pretty deep, whatever percent this is. Let's take a look at our energy charging graph here, because Rivian has recently redone this and they've done a great job. You can see they want us to charge to 67%. It thinks we'll get there in 20 minutes, which isn't terrible. Not terrible. And we're doing 210 kilowatts. Now we'll see how long it holds that for the cable. It says it's 49 minutes to 100%. That would be significantly faster than the nickel-based Rivians, which are like the large and the max pack. So the LFP, you really probably can get it up to 100% pretty quick. I can't wait to do some charge testing on the new software with this and let it absolutely rip on charging performance, because while it doesn't have the outright range, it actually should have pretty solid charging performance. Our biggest issue this session is going to be this cable right here. You see, superchargers are actually rated for 350 amps nominal. There you go. And so anytime you're doing basically more than 350 amps, you're into a boost profile, and you only have a boost until you hit max temperature on this cable, and that happens very quick when it's this hot and this sunny outside. So my guess is we're going to be in that 150, 160 kilowatt region for most of this charging session once it starts derating. But at least for now, it's still holding full power. So I'm going to let it hold this. I'm going to run, get some food. We've got ourselves a nice long charging session to do, and I'll be back soon. All right, well, I just went in and got a quick little sandwich. See how things are going. Rivian fans are going. Superchargers fans are going. We are limited by the supercharging station down to 136 kilowatts at 60%. So for sure, we would have had much... Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. It was not the supercharging station. Slower due to cabin and battery cooling, charging in hot weather. So this just means Rivian has undersized the cooling package of their vehicles, which we already knew, and I left it in dog mode, so it was the cabin staying relatively cool, and that slowed down charging. Now, it definitely slowed down charging because of the supercharger originally. If I go into service mode, I'm really curious what our battery pack temperature is at, because with that warning, we must be at max temp that's allowable. Now with the NMC packs, I think it's 50 degrees Celsius is as high as they go. They might do 55 now. Let's see what the LFP pack is. If we go to high voltage, max temperature, 50 degrees Celsius. So it's right up there. And you can see the supercharger is not our limit. It's offering 336 amps and increasing because we're pulling low and we're only taking in 285 to the battery. So definitely a battery thermal management issue here on the Rivian. So actually, if we had faster charging, like with a better cable, it wouldn't even make a difference because now we're burning up the battery on this thing. So maybe the trick is at the next supercharging stop is I've got to turn climate control off in this, and that's the only way to get a good charging session. It is crazy that it's 2026 now, at least for this Rivian, and these are the thermal issues we're dealing with. It's not like crazy hot out here, 90 degrees or so. I mean, it's planet Earth, 91 degrees. Things should just work on planet Earth. One charging session, the first session of the day, where it had all the time in the world to precondition and pre-chill on the way here, should not be smoking the battery like this. That's actually pretty disappointing so far. I think, or at least I hope, when we turn off cabin climate, we'll get a much better charging session. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it's looking like we're almost good to go. We're at 65% state of charge. If I come over here again to our energy menu, it wants us to charge to 67%. That should be to make it to the next station in West Virginia, Marmot, West Virginia, at like 1% state of charge. So we may actually charge to 70, 80%, something like that. We're currently in southern Ohio, and we're going to be crossing into West Virginia and heading down through West Virginia, into North Carolina. Or do we cross into Virginia? Yes, I believe we go West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina. Should be a nice, beautiful drive today. I always love this stretch. And let's see, charge to 67%. We're pretty much there. Is it going to give us a little indication that says it's time to go? I don't see anything. Doing 108 kilowatts due to cabin and battery cooling. How about that? That is pretty poor charging performance due to temperature. All right, let's hit continue. It says 4% arrival. I feel like that should be good. We'll feather it in, as they say, and let's rock and roll. I'm curious to see when we unplug what our battery temperatures look like on the screen, if it's going to show red. So fans are screaming. I'm just going to hit the, latch unlock button on the handle like I do. You don't have to hit the ejecto seat cuz button. Man, that is a toasty supercharger handle. I'll give it that. It was definitely derating as well. We're at 68%, says 5% arrival. That's perfect. If I come here, we're at 126. So the big battery packs start freaking out at like 135. So they must get up to close to 55 degrees Celsius. And here, 50 degrees Celsius is the maximum they want the LFP to get to. Maybe they can open up the thermal window for this a bit, which seems like it would be kind of necessary. But oof, okay, not as great as I was expecting right there, but still not terrible. We were in and out in, what, 20 minutes, something like that? 25 minutes at the most. Pretty easy charging session, up to 68%, 35 cents per kilowatt hour here at this location. Really not expensive at all. Thank you, Tesla, for letting me at least still use my Pass Plus membership. Just activating through the app. We will head to West Virginia in 2 hours, 6 minutes. See you guys in 130 miles or so. Cruising along nicely here. We've just reached about 50% state of charge. That's 96 miles to go, and we'll get there with a predicted 3% arrival. You can see one of the problems with Rivian is their driver assistance is locked to pre-mapped roads, and somehow this is not a pre-mapped road. You'll see it's unavailable on this road, and that's kind of annoying. I much prefer a pre-mapped system. So like in my Gen 1 Rivian, I installed a Comma AI, and that's been working wonderful. So anyway, things are good, just cruising. This thing is a great way to spend an afternoon, just cruising in this nice R1S. This drives better than Scott's R1S. Her car had some issues. This thing drives great. I've got to drop the speed a little bit. It's showing a 0% arrival. So I'm just gonna back it down, 60, 65. So we don't run out on the way. Should be easy. You can always extend the range of your electric car by just dropping the speed. Welcome to downtown Charleston, West Virginia. I've spent actually quite a bit of time here. It's a kind of a cool city and definitely awesome. I like it. It's kind of a cool vibe. I always travel through here. When we used to live in North Carolina, to get out, you pretty much always have to do the West Virginia route. So I've done this stretch a bunch. Anyway, since we've just been cruising a little bit slower, we've got our arrival state of charge up to 2%. I, of course, when I noticed we weren't, having to drop speed or whatever, I put us into all-purpose mode so that we're running just front-wheel drive. The rear motor's disconnected. But really, things are good and smooth, and cruising through Charleston. Weather's warm, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Toasty out here. We got some bug guts all over the windshield, looking nasty. But yeah, we're about 10 minutes away from the supercharging station, so looking forward to getting there. It wasn't long ago that it was nearly impossible to drive an electric car through West Virginia. Now, don't even think about it. We are pulling into the supercharger at 4%, plenty of juice remaining, and it looks like we can take the stall all the way on the end. 2 Cybertrucks and a Rivian R1T charging here, as well as a Model 3. I've been seeing a lot of Cybertrucks this trip, pretty much almost every charging stop. Love to see it, and that's probably the same black Cybertruck we just saw at the last stop, don't know. Nice R1T. This is the handicap spot, which I don't want to necessarily take 2 stalls, and I don't think I actually have to. I'm pretty sure I can park next to that R1T and leave this one available. When I had my trailer here just recently, I towed here with a Rivian R1T. I took the handicap spot, but I think since he and I kind of have to both park a little bit offset to the right, it'll kind of work actually. Oh yeah, perfect. You can see I'm just on the line. He's actually doing a little bit better job than I am. We'll pull up all the way so it reaches. We'll plug in, start charging, and yeah, do a nice charging session. Should be great. It's hot as balls out here, so I don't care if we smoke the battery. Oh, I don't have my heated seat on. I'm going to not shut climate control off. I'll deal with some thermal derate. It's hot. Just like last time, I have pre-authorized the charging session. In we go. Nice blacked out R1T, looks great. Oh, this is a new one with the new tonneau cover, the new slats. That's sweet. He's got gear guard going on his. That's awesome. And we have 11 miles of range. One thing that's annoying with Rivian is you can't keep climate control on with dog mode. Range is too low until you hit 50 miles. It really should be based on percent, and if it notices that you're DC charging, it should just let you turn dog mode on. That's what Tesla does. Way better. All right, let's see. We've got Princeton, West Virginia as the next stop, but there's also that rest stop location that has the Lincoln Electric chargers that I wouldn't mind stopping at. So I may play around with this, but it wants us to charge to 50% or so here. And we're getting pretty good charging speeds. Hopefully it'll ramp a little bit more. Regardless, we will, yeah, probably hang out here, catch up, grab a coffee at Dunkin', then back on the road. Well, the black Rivian left and the Model 3 left, so I've got some coffee. You know what? Secretly, don't tell anyone. I'm kind of liking the Dunkin' Donuts cold brew better than the Starbucks cold brew. I still miss the old Kyle Connor pink drink that I used to have every day, but that was going to kill me, so I just drink black coffee now. Let's take a look at the stats. Okay, charging speeds reduced this time due to the charging station, so that's cable overheat that's got us down. Wow, the fans are ripping. Let's turn on dog mode. Nice truck. Cybertruck looks good. Love it. So, yeah, we'll charge up here. I'll figure out if we want to just use Tesla superchargers the whole way or hit that Lincoln Electric site. The only reason I had that one come to mind is they have native NACS plugs on there. And again, I do not have my CCS adapter. So I feel like that would be great. And yeah, I've got to do some trash management going on over here. Got to clean this thing up. So let's do all that while this charges. Man, I'm really liking this Spec. I think we got to get the black badges for it, and I think a satin PPF would look really cool. I got to call my buddy Eric at Drive Protected. He's pretty much did my Model S recently. It came out perfect. It was amazing. So I might have him do the same satin thing to this, and then we can get some dark badges. Maybe we'll even keep the silver badges. Silver on silver could look kind of cool. The other idea we have is maybe we'll wrap it something fun, like the little Rivian topographical prototype wraps that they have. Those look good too. And then I got to get some Martian wheels on this thing in no time. So we have so much to do with this truck to have some fun with it, but I'm really liking it. Sound system's not terrible. It's not terrible. My phone just alerted me that we're ready to head to the next stop, but the car actually didn't ding or indicate anything, which is funny, other than just hitting this point. So I feel like they need a little pop-up notification that's like, yep, you've charged to 47%. Princeton, West Virginia is next, and we'd get there at 4%. Just a quick hop, skip, and a jump. But I'm going to think to see if we can stop at that Lincoln Electric site. Let me check on that real quick. We'll go through Beckley. It's a beautiful drive. We are definitely good to go. We'll get there at 27%, way closer than I was thinking. And if for whatever reason we can't charge there, we can still make it to the next supercharger. The thing is, we're derated to 350 amps here because that's, nominal rating of that cable. So we get down there when it gets warm. That's, I think, what this station is, 350 amps anyway. So it makes no difference whether we're here or there, so let's roll. We'll stop charging, and it's not like there's much voltage difference charging up top here because it's LFP. It kind of just stays the same or in the same region. So let's unplug and make our way over to the Beckley Travel Plaza. It's one of the coolest travel plazas. And yeah, I keep wanting to close the CCS port flap, but don't need to in the Rivian. Powered flap, very cool. Or I should say no flap, but with the powered cover. Foot on the brake. Into reverse, Terry. We're off to the Beckley Travel Plaza in our new freaking R1S. Every time I get out of this thing and look at it, I go, are we dumb for spending this much money to make videos about an LFP Rivian? I think the answer is no. This is sick. Let's go. You guys join me just a few minutes later down the road at one of the coolest travel plazas in maybe the whole country. It feels very almost Norwegian-like to me. It's a cool interior design. I'm going to plug in. We'll go inside, check it out real quick because I've been here now. This is my third time, but I haven't been inside. And we are going to go show you the Lincoln Electric chargers. Ooh, watch out, folks. We got the Danger Ranger. Ford Ranger. Love it. Let's go charge up. So this charging stop is more of a exploration. I want to see how these chargers work with this Rivian as well. Lightning charging up, very cool. And I also thought it'd be cool for you guys to see the Lincoln Electric chargers. Again, if you guys remember, we had Alyssa's e-tron and actually the Rivian when I was towing charging on these coming across the country. And so we've got native NACS, which is great to use. See, 44 cents per kilowatt hour. So honestly, quite a bit more expensive than superchargers. We will keep climate on. We need to get a keep climate button rather than just dog mode. All right, so I'll plug in, tap my card, and then we'll go into the rest area. Should be good. All I did was plug in, tap my card on this Pater unit. It's authorizing. It says thank you. And that's really a thank you to the viewers for watching the video. So that card is accepted. Love having an awesome job making YouTube videos about electric cars. It's always kind of a pinch me moment. These are the Lincoln Electric Velion chargers, and we are charging. That's it. Native NACS in public charging infrastructure. Plug, charge, rip. Love to see it in the R1S. All right, I'm going to run inside here, and this Lightning's charging up. Sick. It was pretty busy in there, and I was waiting in line for a little snack, but man, they were just going so slow that I decided to pop out, and yes, I think we're pretty much charged up to make it to skipping the supercharger. We are at 70% state of charge. Been charging for just under 20 minutes. Excuse me, 69% state of charge. Down to 100 kilowatts at 69%. My guess is that is vehicle limits at this point. Let's take a look. Yep, because of cooling. Charging in hot weather. So they really have some cooling issues to work on here with the battery pack. And again, we were charging slow. Interesting. So we've got to hit 50 degrees max cell temp. Let's see what the rest of the trip looks like from here if we go to Raleigh. We are not far away. Should be home, I don't know, 9 p.m. or so, something like that. Maybe even a bit before. It wants us just to do one charging stop? There is no way. At 52%? Also, there is no way. That doesn't make sense, does it? I feel like we should charge, like somewhere down here. Greensboro. Isn't there a Mercedes Alpitronic hypercharger? But maybe they don't have NACS ports yet. This looks like it's right on the way. I'd rather stop, deeper down low. Let's see. Huh. So it really does want us to stop here for some reason, which doesn't make sense, but I'll play around with it if we just remove those charging stops and do the internal trip one, got it. Now it doesn't think we can make it home, but we could make it home if we stopped earlier. That makes no sense. Let's see what we'll get to this one with. We wouldn't get there yet, so we'll charge up just enough to make it to this 174 miles, which shouldn't take too long, maybe up to 80%, something like that. We'll head out, charge up, along this corridor. We've got plenty of options around past there, but not ahead of there. So we do, it looks like there's an accident. So I see that's why it wanted us to charge at this one. But we're so close, I feel like we should make it. We'll just charge up enough until we can make it to this charger, and then it's home free. All charged up to about 80%. Shows a 6% arrival at that supercharging station, which is right off the highway. So there we go, 80%. Let's rock and roll. I would say, yeah, really got to do more digging into this LFP battery pack situation to see what's going on. Interestingly, the truck says 80%, this says 79%, but 50 kilowatt hours, $22, and definitely vehicle limits on thermals. So I'll click the little eject seat button, even though you don't need to. You can also just click the button on the charger. We will wait for it to stop charging. There we go. Throw this back in the port. Oh no, you're not supposed to go there, cable. There we go. That goes there. 25 minutes and we're charged up to 80, and we are ready to do the rest of our road trip. So let's do exactly that. One more charging stop and then we're home. Really won't be too long at all. We are in North Carolina and everything's been going well. I've just been holding our state of charge on arrival right around here. You got to take control every time there's an exit. But we are popping on to I-76 east towards Winston-Salem. And then we'll be charging up on the very west side of Winston-Salem. I think it's the first charger on the way in. Just kind of balancing our speed and overall trip time with the charging infrastructure. I think this will be our last charging stop if all goes well. And I gotta say, it's gone well so far. Really enjoying it. This thing cruises wonderfully. So thanks for joining me so far on this trip. I know it's not like a really nicely edited and shot video, but it is fun. I'm enjoying the road trip. Ooh, and a rainbow. What could it mean? That is a legit rainbow, isn't it? Look at that thing. Pretty nice. Comes all the way down over here. Love North Carolina. So glad to be back. It always feels good to come home. Looks good to me. Rolling up to the last charging stop of the trip, assuming all goes well. 3% arrival, 4% state of charge currently. Should be over here at this Sheetz gas station is what it looks like. Yep, right around back. Nice. Love Sheetz. And love that there's so many superchargers at Sheetz. And a lot of Teslas pulling in and out here right now. Yeah, let's go see if we can find a good spot to not block multiple stations. They do have a car wash here, but I don't know if it's a touchless wash. Anyway, we could use that one all the way on the end, or this one's perfect because we can just roll right up here and we're not blocking the stall. That's awesome. So there we go. We'll get it plugged in, get it juicing. One thing I will say is this SOC on arrival is definitely not accurate. It like freaks out too much, then you're too good, and then I'm like, whoa. And I kept raising the speed at the end. I was like 70, 75, 80. And it just like, now we're here at 4%. So got me all freaked out for nothing. Let's turn off climate because it's actually getting pretty nice out, 90 degrees, but still feels good. And let's see if that helps with a good charging session. Turning off climate control seemed to make a big difference throughout this charging session. I got no warnings about the vehicle slowing down charging. We did get the cable overheat warning. I'm just charging to 70%. We only needed 38% to make it home, but I wanted some driving around range for this evening. So charging up a bit more here. If we take a look at our charging graph, whoops, let's go back here. You can see we're boogieing along just fine. Cable overheat. And this, I'm not sure. I think this might just be the normal. Hard to say. We got to do more LFP testing because it doesn't seem amazing charging performance there, but also could be still limited without the warning popping up. Regardless, I'm looking forward to trying out more and more set conditions. So there we go. We just completed at 70% state of charge, and we are ready to rock and roll, head out of here, head home, the end of the trip. with our brand new 2026 R1S LFP with the native NACS port. Very pleased with this car, I have to say. Just in terms of value for money, feels like you get so much for your money compared to when you spend $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 more on a Rivian upgrade. I'm not sure you actually really do get that much more value out of it. Anyway, back home, we'll finish up this video when we get there, but let's boogie. After this session, we got the battery pack real toasty, so it does go up to the same max temperature as earlier. And now that I've kicked climate on, the AC compressor has shot up. Dang, ripping it. So I think there's definitely huge benefits to keeping climate off while DC fast charging this car. Massive benefits from what I can tell. Well, guys, I guess to wrap up the road trip, made it home safely, easily, just over 2 miles per kilowatt hour, and honestly a very easy trip in the base model R1S. We've learned a lot about this new car in just our, I don't know, first day or two of ownership, and plenty more to come. I guess the biggest disappointment is actually the total range of the R1S. Now, a lot of that probably can be down to the wheel and tire package. Going with the all-season tires with the range wheels probably would help a bit. Even though in the EPA cycle, it doesn't say that it changes the range all that much. It's like 259 to 270 miles rated. I really do think you'd see a little bit more of a highway benefit going with the Aero wheel and tire package. However, I still think the base wheel and tire is awesome considering the overall envelope of what the car is capable of, considering off-roading and all-weather capability. So I think if you have home charging, and since you can full charge the LFP to 100% every day, it's actually totally fine. But I've recently been driving Scott's Max Pack around the last few days, and that really is a noticeable difference in total usable range. And that's really a thing. The other thing we learned was the LFP's charging behavior seems to be really good, except for when we leave climate control on in the truck. Climate control really seems to limit battery cooling. And, you know, it is the year 2025. This should not be an issue. Size your cooling systems for the worst case scenario, even if it costs a little bit more. This is a base truck that's 75 grand. Give me a cooling package that can handle charging and cooling the cabin. This isn't rocket science. And so that was a little bit disappointing. From what I hear, and we'll do more testing when you shut climate control off, the R1S should charge better. Overall, I actually think the money is, like for most people, this is all you need. The overall driving character, the day-to-day usability of it, the ride comfort is no different than driving Scott's $105,000 R1S, and really not much different than a $120,000, $130,000 quad motor. So I really think people should go with this option unless you're towing or doing a lot of long range stuff. Then I could see the case for the Max Pack. But I'm very, very impressed with this. I've already released a video on our Out of Spec Reviews channel detailing all of the driving character of the vehicle on road, drifting it on track, and off-roading. So head over there. We'll leave the link in the description below. But thanks for joining on my first Rivian R1S LFP road trip. I can't wait to do more with this thing. If you can't tell, I'm actually in my R1T right now, my early Gen 1 truck that I love so much. I'm never getting rid of this thing. This is my favorite vehicle I've ever owned. And I'm just so thrilled with the new R1S as well. So thanks for watching. See you in another one again soon. Bye-bye.